let's dive into this whole 2026 Social Security's COLA thing and what it means for everyone. We're breaking down this video today aimed at seniors. It's got all the bells and whistles, flashy graphics, testimonials, even some memes in there just to keep things interesting.
It definitely grabs your attention, that's for sure. But beyond all the flash is how they make this complicated topic like Social Security, relatable for people. It's clearly for an audience that wants the info, straight up clear and concise.
And that's where we step in, right? To cut through all that, figure out if this 2.3% COA increase is really going to, change your life or not.
Exactly. Yeah, let's break down that 2.3% and see what it actually looks like, in dollars and cents. The video says it's an average increase of $46 a month for retirees. Okay, maybe not life-changing money, but it does make you wonder, is that really enough to keep up with, everything getting more expensive?
Especially because right away, the video kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing. It says that the way they even calculate this COLA is messed up. They say the CPI-W, which is what they use to figure out the COLA, doesn't really line up with how retirees actually spend their money.
And this is where it gets interesting. Imagine two shopping carts, right? One is loaded up with electronics and gym memberships, that kind of stuff. And the other one is, groceries, meds, doctor bills. That's the retiree cart, right? But the CPI-W, it's focused on that first cart, the one that doesn't really, match up with what most retirees are dealing with.
So it's like they're using a millennials shopping list to figure out a senior's budget. I mean, no wonder people feel like they're falling behind.
Exactly. And the video makes that point, They talk about the CPI-E, which is an index that specifically tracks, older American spending. The crazy part is that if they use the CPI-E to calculate CLAs, retirees could be looking at increases up to 20% higher, over a decade.
Now that's a number that would, actually make a difference. But the video doesn't stop there. It goes on to say that even with these CLAs, Social Security checks have actually lost 20% of their buying power since 2010.
And that's where the video gets real, They use these real-life examples to show you what's happening. Like they say healthcare costs have shot up 35% since 2020. Think about that, 35% in just 3 years. Groceries are up 25%. And prescription drugs, well, they just keep going up.
So yeah, you get an extra $46 a month. Maybe you can buy a few more bags of groceries, but then it's gone. All these other costs just eat it up.
Right. It really makes this whole DOLA discussion even more, important because It raises the question, how do we make sure that Social Security benefits actually keep up with, what seniors are really paying for things?
And, we can't talk about making sure Social Security survives without talking about that $23 trillion shortfall they keep mentioning, the one that's supposed to hit by 2035. The video paints a pretty scary picture. If something doesn't change, Social Security, poof, it's gone.
Yeah, and what I think is interesting is that they don't just leave it at that, doom and gloom. They actually try to offer some, solutions. They talk about three main things: switching to CPI-E for the COLA calculations. Then there's raising the payroll tax cap. And then, the one nobody likes, delaying retirement age.
Switching to CPI-E, that seems like, the simplest fix, right? It'd be a better reflection of what seniors are spending and could maybe even mean bigger COA increases down the line.
Yeah.
But, wouldn't that be a logistical nightmare to actually implement?
Oh, it would definitely be a big change. And yeah, the video does say that much. Plus, there's the whole question of, how much it would all cost, what the financial impact would be. Not everyone agrees on that.
And what about raising the payroll tax cap? Right now, it's only on income up to $168,600. Couldn't you get more money for Social Security just by, raising that limit?
It's another solution people talk about a lot. But it's got its critics too. Some people say it's not fair to higher earners, that they'd end up shouldering most of the burden.
Yeah. And then there's delaying the retirement age. That one always seems to, get people riled up. I guess it makes sense if you're just looking at the numbers, but not a lot of people are thrilled about working longer.
Especially people with jobs that are really, hard on their bodies, or people who've been working forever and just want to enjoy retirement, The video does mention that not everyone would be happy about that solution.
I will say the video does a good job of, laying out all these solutions without really taking sides. Here's the info, you decide what you think.
Though you do kind of pick up on a little bit of skepticism, especially when they show that meme of the turtles racing. There's supposed to be Congress trying to decide on Social Security. It's funny, but it also kind of shows how frustrated people are that nothing seems to be, actually getting done about this.
Yeah, with the election coming up in 2024, it does make you wonder, how much will actually change. But let's not get too bogged down in all the politics. The video tries to, be optimistic and offer some hope for people who are trying to, get the most out of their benefits, even with the system the way it is now. They say there's $22,924 in Social Security loopholes that, most retirees miss out on.
It's important to remember this isn't about, cheating the system or anything. It's about understanding how Social Security really works so you can make good choices and, get what you're entitled to.
Like, one thing they talk about is waiting until you're 70 to start taking benefits. My grandma did that. She said that extra 8% a year you get for waiting was, worth it.
It can be a really smart move, especially if you're healthy and don't need the money right away. But it's not the right choice for everyone. It depends.
They also mentioned, spousal strategies. Like, if one person in a couple has a much higher benefit, they say there are ways to, maximize the survivor benefit, so whoever's left is, taken care of financially.
This can be kind of tricky, those spousal strategies, but they can really help couples, plan for retirement. It's probably worth talking to a financial advisor to see, what would work best.
And then there's that more, I guess you could say, extreme approach, moving to a state with no income tax, like Florida. I know some people who've done that to, avoid taxes and have more money.
Yeah. Might not be practical for everyone, but it shows how important it is to, think about everything when you're planning for retirement. Taxes, they can take a big bite out of your income, that's for sure.
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. But I think the video's main message is pretty clear. When it comes to Social Security, knowledge is power. The more you understand the rules, the benefits, all the, potential problems, the better you can navigate the whole thing and make choices that are right for you.
And that's what we're trying to do here with this deep dive, right? We're not just, summarizing the video. We're analyzing it, picking out the important stuff, and getting you thinking about what it means for you personally.
So let's shift gears a little bit here. Let's say you were the one in charge of fixing Social Security. What would be the first thing you'd do? Would you focus on giving bigger benefits to the people who are retired now, even if it meant, maybe the system wouldn't last as long? Or would you focus on making sure Social Security is still there for future generations, even if it meant making some tough choices now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Trying to find that balance, taking care of people who need it now, but also making sure the program is still there for, the future. It's not easy. It's a conversation we all need to be having.
This deep dive has given you the info, the knowledge to, start forming your own opinion.
Yeah.
Don't just keep it to yourself, though. Talk to your family, your friends, whoever helps you with your finances. Share what you've learned, and, let's get people talking about this, about the future of Social Security.
The video's aimed at seniors, but what they're talking about, it affects everyone, really. Whether you're years away from retirement or already collecting benefits, understanding Social Security, the good and the bad, it's important for anyone who wants to make smart financial decisions.
At the end of the video, they tease the next one. It's about Medicare costs for 2026. It just shows you all these things are all connected. Staying informed is a marathon, not a sprint. This deep dive is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's an important one.
And it reminds us that we're not just sitting here waiting for things to happen to us. We have a say in this. We have a responsibility to speak up and get involved in the conversation about what happens to these programs. What we do today, it's going to have a big impact on, the people who come after us.
It's funny, the video makes it seem like this whole Social Security thing is like a ticking time bomb. Makes you feel like you got to do something, but it's also kind of scary. Like, is it really that bad?
That's the thing, right? They definitely play up the fear factor, but they also give you the knowledge to, do something about it. That's how you go from feeling helpless to, taking control.
So let's talk about, taking action. What can our listeners actually do, today, based on what we've talked about?
First thing, don't panic. Seriously.
Yeah.
Don't let all the headlines and, scary numbers freak you out. Knowledge is power, right? It's like the antidote to fear.
I like that. Knowledge is an antidote. So what's the first, dose of this antidote?
Well, start with yourself, Think about how much you depend on Social Security, what you want retirement to look like. Answering those questions honestly, that's the starting point for any good financial plan.
And maybe that plan involves some of the things we talked about, like waiting to take benefits, looking at those spousal strategies, even thinking about, moving somewhere with lower taxes.
Exactly. Those aren't, overnight solutions, but they show how understanding the rules can actually, work to your advantage.
And it's not just about, personal planning. The video also says people should get involved in the bigger picture, like trying to actually change how Social Security works.
Right. That's where it gets interesting. Contact your representatives, go to those town hall meetings, even just talking to people you know about this stuff. It all helps. It gets the word out and puts pressure on the people who can actually make a difference.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like one person doesn't matter, but when everybody speaks up, it becomes something they can't ignore.
That's how things change, right? It starts with people taking action, knowing the facts and wanting to make things better for themselves and for, the next generation.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, lots of info, some analysis, even a few laughs along the way. But the main thing, the whole point of all this, is to give you the knowledge you need to, take charge of your future, your finances.
We broke down that 2026 ELLA, talked about the challenges facing Social Security, and even found some, hidden opportunities in the system. So now it's up to you. What are you going to do with all this knowledge?
That's what we want you thinking about, as we wrap things up. Are you going to just sit back and watch things happen, or are you going to step up and be part of the solution? The choice is yours.